Many federal employees do not review their federal employee health benefits, or FEHB, each year. And this is a shame because the plans change every year. And sometimes your needs change or your family dynamic will change. So you want to be able to look at what the plan is that you have and if there are better values for you and your family. In this episode, we're going to cover some of the tools and resources available for you as a federal employee to look at the FEHB and make sure it's best for you and your family. Welcome. I'm Ed Smith, President of Valor Wealth Partners, where we're dedicated to educating federal employees on your complex and often underutilized benefits. In today's episode, we're going to compare the 275 different plan options under FEHB for 2022. Well, I'm not actually going to compare all 275 options. We're going to compare the different comparison tools so you can look at those different plan options. Now, in 2022, there was 24 changes to those plans. That's almost 10% of the available plans out there. So you really have to be watching of what's going on and on a regular basis, making sure your plan didn't change or go away completely. So the tools we're going to share today, one is the OPM Calculator and the other one is Consumer CheckBook. Both of these are good resources to be able to use. We're going to walk you through them by sharing our screen so you can see exactly what's there. We're also going to share a couple of other tools in both of these different sites. So let's get right into these comparison tools. We want to start off at opm.gov. The reason for this is so you can actually get some good resources. This link will be below the video, so please look in the description section so we'll be able to get you that, go right to this page. All right, I want to talk about two resources that we have. First, open season resources right here on the bottom right. In here, the Federal Benefits Open Season Highlights. This is a really good resource if you want to geek out a little bit and look at all of the different stuff. I'll make this a little bit bigger, and we're going to scroll through these different pages. All right, the first one we want to look at is the change in the rate. Right here, the overall average increase is 2.4%. But what does that mean? How does that compare historically to the other years? And right here, in a couple pages down, we actually see 2021, 20, 19, and 18. So the last couple of years. We want to go a little bit more to see a little bit more of these details and what has changed. As I mentioned earlier, 275 plan choices in 2022. It's down one from last year. You can see all of these different plan changes. There are 23 new plan choices with existing FEHB carriers. So there has been some different things. There's also some added, one more plan that was added to high deductible plans. Breaks it down by region so you can see what's there. And also, one of the things that is really critical is FEHB and Medicare Part B. There are 4 new plan options that will offer Medicare Part B reimbursement. Those plans there, it also shows the existing plans. Now, let's get back to the main page so you can actually look at some of this other stuff, because that's really what we want to be able to look at today. Looking at the comparison tool, let's put the zip code for Washington, D.C., just to be standard here. Enrollee type, federal and U.S. employee, biweekly. We're not going to try to pick any one specific plan. We just want to be able to look at what a lot of people are doing, and let's just use Blue Cross Blue Shield. Again, we're not endorsing any plan over the other. All right. One of the things that you'll see is there's a lot of data on this page. It shows you the existing, what you're paying and what you have for benefits, and then you can click here to this plan in 2022. We're going to stay with Blue Cross Blue Shield, so we're going to scroll down till we find the Blue Cross. It's alphabetical, so we have to get past the Aetnas and the other A's. Okay, we're Blue Cross. We're only allowed to compare 3 plans, and the compare button is all the way down at the bottom of the page. Very annoying, but here it is. Care First also has Blue Cross, and it actually has the B6 options, which are the high deductible plans. But let's scroll down. Sorry if it makes you a little bit dizzy here. All right, we got to get to that compare button. There it is. All right, compare, and now we see these different options. When we're looking at these, I want to show one thing. You have these little icons, self, self plus one, and then self and family. Over here, it shows what they are. Self, self and family, and self plus one. It's backwards here. So make sure you're getting the right code when you're looking at this. You're not doing self and family when you want self plus one. Because right here, they show the premiums, self, self plus one, and self and family. So they're different when you're looking at those different codes. I want to point out something that's really critical here. If you're both federal employees, you want to compare, should you get individual self only or self plus one? Using the middle example of basic, $80 per person, you double that, $160. Or $196. That's $36 more per month if you do self plus one, and versus just getting it individually, self only as a federal employee. Another thing I want to point out here is going back up here is you have the brochures, summary of benefits, provider directory, so you can see which doctors are in which, and then the prescription pricing plan tool. The brochure, just so you can see what this means, there's 173 pages just to compare the standard and the basic options. All right, that's a lot of information to go through. Let's get back to the tool. Okay, now the standard is broken up into in-network, out-of-network, and then you have in-network and in-network for the two other options. I want to scroll down, just want to point out one thing that you have to be very cautious about when you're looking at these different options. Let's look at surgery and hospital charges per admission. Now, this is basically will tell you that it's what you will have to pay. $350, $450 plus 35% plus the difference, $175 per day, up to $187 per admission, which is this is per admission, or 30%. Very different options. So you really want to be able to dig in to figure out what is best for you, and you have to understand what the potential costs and the out-of-pocket costs would be for you. A lot of information here, but what I want to be able to show you is there's just so much stuff you want to be able to do. All right, let's go back because that's that tool. It's nice, but there's just way too many different things and options you want to be able to look at. All right. Oh, sorry. I want to go back one more page. I apologize. All right. When you're looking at this, you have plan information. And in the plan information, you have some other tools here. All right, you can check them all out, but what I really want to point out is the Consumer Checkbook Comparison Tool. This is the most important part here. Now, you'll have to leave the opm.gov website and you'll go into Consumer Checkbook. I want to take a quick second to really express that Consumer Checkbook is an independent company. Now, they do not accept any type of advertisements or endorsements. We are not getting paid to recommend Consumer Checkbook. It is something that we found as an extremely good resource. And as you can see, it's coming directly from the opm.gov website. So it's not something that is out there that OPM is not aware of. They're actually recommending it because it's on their website. And it's the only tool that I have found on their website. So let's take a little bit deeper dive exactly what is here on Consumer Checkbook. Now, there's other resources that you can look at, some regional areas like Boston and DC, Chicago, that have more specific consumer checkbook things like plumbers or different services that you can be able to look at. But we're only going to be looking at the FEHB or Federal Employee Health Benefits for this resource. All right. It talks a little bit about why it's so good. There's a video that you can watch. We're going to be doing this a little bit more, going a little bit more in depth about what I like about the video, but you can actually watch their video. Some good articles if you want to be looking at getting started, the basics, FEHB and Medicare, and then some other resources down below. All right, I'm going to scroll back up so we can look at this. When you're looking at getting started, one of the things you want to be able to look at is that there's a couple of different options that you have for you. You can pre-order online. Again, this does not become available until open season opens on November 8th. So you can't get a preview of what it is. We're going to have to use last year's data to be able to look at this. But you have pre-order online, pre-order the print guide if you want print versus online. I think that online is very good. Pre-order online and print if you want both. And then see if your agency provides access. This is really cool because you might be able to get it for free. Look at all of the agencies that are here. All right, there's a lot of different ones. So if you see your agency, you'll have to contact your HR to find out how you can get access. All right, so some of them it's single sign-on, some of it's the intranet, agency computer, or employee express. And they have different versions of what is here. If you have different departments, you might have to be able to look at this and it breaks it down into sub-departments or parts of the agencies. Okay, so there's just a lot of information. If you have free access, that's great. If you don't have free access and you don't see your agency or department here, it only costs about $13. In my opinion, it is extremely worth the cost, but that's up to you. We're going to continue and look and figure out what's best for you. All right, we have to go get signed on to this. So we're going to meet you in 2 seconds with looking at exactly what this means and what it looks like for you. Here's Consumer Checkbook. All right, as I said, you can only look at the 2021 data right now because it isn't available for 2022. It'll be available in about a week as of this recording. All right, enter the zip code. Again, we want the same zip code here. DC, FEHB category, GS full-time, bi-weekly, who will be covered. Let's just do self plus one. Let's do self plus one to make it a little bit easy. Select age. Let's just do, I don't know, doesn't really matter, but let's just do 50. Average healthcare expenses, which is great. Okay. Are you establishing a healthcare for flexible account? Sure, let's say yes. All right, continue. All right. One of the things you're going to notice that on some areas you will have this option, in other areas you won't. All right. In Boston, we don't. So I didn't use Boston. I used DC instead. But you can type in your doctors. You can type in multiple doctors and you'll see which plan has which doctor and which one doesn't. We're not going to do this, but you can play around with this different area. So we're going to continue. And here's what it looks like. Here's all the data. Now, as you can see, it's a lot more flexible than the OPM calculator, right? One of the things you can do is you can choose HMO, CDHP, or PPO. Now, what does this mean? All right, read advice. You have this over here, all right? You can be able to look at all of these different things. They have a lot of different types. What are plan types? All right. What do these means? Should I join an HMO? What's a high deductible plan? Types of plans. All right. So you have all of this information here if you want to be able to get some resources. Great stuff on that. All right, let's go all the way back to the plan itself. Okay, so you have this. You can actually rate by overall score. You can look at costs. So there's a lot of different things that you can be able to do here. All right, so to be fair, let's look at a couple of these different options. All right, now remember I said Care First was Blue Cross too, so let's check this one off as a high deductible plan. Let's go find some of these other ones. Blue Cross right here, the FEP, we looked at that one. Blue Cross Basic, and then where's Blue Cross Standard? You can sort this by alphabetically. Blue Cross Standard. So you have those. Now, remember how we had to scroll all the way to the bottom? The compare button's right there, right at the top. And you see all of these different numbers. You can also look at the brochures, just like you could in the other things, plan directory, drug formulary, but they also have some other things you can be able to do. All right. It's spelling everything out very similar to the other way, but you have everything in this different option. You can just see everything that's going on. You can see those different numbers. They go across the board, and you can look at these high deductible plans if that's important to you. I do like high deductibles because you can use HSA, especially if you're younger, and you can do a lot of different options on that. There's just some good options with HSAs and high deductibles, but again, that doesn't mean it's for everybody. You can also look at other things like chiropractic. You can look at different other types of diabetic supplies, other options that are here, and you can also look at the rating. All right, so let's scroll back up because I want to show you some other things that are very important when you're looking at the plan. All right, so look at all the different plans. You're going to roll right from here. We see the different areas. Annual published premium, so you can look at the premiums, and then you have breaking it out by average costs. All right, so if you're looking at if your usage is low, if your usage is average, and you can see what those different numbers are. Again, that really doesn't matter as far as we don't know what it's going to be next year, but you can look at what you've been in the past. When you go back to some of these other areas, you can do some other cost comparisons. All right. You can look at cost comparisons. If you're looking at concern on different plans on different types of healthcare averages, what happens if you have no usage, low, average, or high, but you must, most of you could pay in a year. Okay. The most you could pay. You also have cost sharings. All right. This is very important when you're looking at these different areas of what the percentages are, either in a dollar amount or percent. Coverage features. All right, so now you're going to be looking at what's chiropractic, acupuncture, mail and order drugs, different types of things that might be here. Now, we're going to get into dental and vision in a quick second, but I want you to be able to see that you can compare in all of these different areas, and you can select, if you want to be looking at a high deductible, select there and then hit submit, and you see all of these different high deductible plans, if that's a benefit for you, and then you can compare them out. When you're looking at dental and vision, there's a lot more complexity that you want to be able to look at. So let's take a few seconds just to be able to look at this one specifically. Okay, so we click into dental and vision hearing. One of the things that I always recommend is you go over here and you change these. Now, we just had the HD HP plans, but you could also have the HMOs and the PPOs. There's just a lot of different. If you hit submit, there's just a lot of information. I just think it clouds it, but I think looking at taking all three of these off and you just have the FED VIP, hit submit, and only those plans come up. So you can look at it a little bit more clearer. Okay. When you're looking at this, one of the key things I think you should be looking at besides the premium is all the way to the right, which is the maximum dental benefit per person. This means how much are they going to pay? Now, some of these are unlimited, but most of them are $1,500. So $1,500 per person per year. That's not that much if you're looking at having a really good care. And especially when you're looking at some of these being $600, $500, $700. So different numbers have different numbers. So you can cut down the cost. Otherwise, you have unlimited. You have $2,500 on this one, and there's one at $30,000. Again, that's a lot, almost unlimited, but again, almost the same cost. You also have dental care cost if your dental care usage were, again, none, low, average, and high. So you can compare out to figure out which one is better for you based off of how much you've used in the past, or maybe you have something going on that you might need it in the future. So you look at all these plans. You can also look at the key dental benefits, all right? So you can actually kind of compare what these different costs would be. If you're looking at, let's say, adult restorative, all right, 50%, 60%, these different numbers. So you have different areas you want to be able to look at. Detailed dental benefits. A lot of people look at a crown, or maybe it's going to be a root canal. All right. And so when you look at a crown, what are these numbers? 50%, 65, 30%, 70%. So there's all different percentages. It really makes sense to look at this to figure out what that cost is going to be and how much you're going to have to pay, even if you have to pay it. So if you have to pay 50% of the benefit or the cost for a crown, and you think you have a really good price, is the dental really a good benefit for you? Only you can really be able to look at that. All right. The next one, let's look at vision. Now, for me, when you're looking at vision, you have a couple different things. Obviously, you have your premiums you have to look at. Some really good prices over here compared to dental, but you also want to be able to look at, let's say, frame allowance. All right. If you have a $300 frame allowance, okay, and you're paying $300, that's a pretty good number. Frame allowance additional discount is 20%. Okay. So you could actually just with frames, you can make some of this difference. Again, 160, 150. You have to look at these different numbers. Laser vision discount. So what this percentage is. Okay. And then out of network, it seems like all of them are reduced except for one of them. All right. So just look at these different areas. Now, the last area on looking at hearing aids, this goes back and it brings back all of those plans when you automatically select it, so you can see what hearing aids will cost under different plans, if that's of importance to you. All right. Last two things we didn't get to was plan flexibility when you're looking at all of these different things. Something specific, again, plan provides Medicare A, B, wraparound, Medicare Advantage. So different things you're going to be able to look at. And then quality, if you're just looking at the ratings and you want to be able to look at it, I think an easier way to be able to do that is to check off some of these different plans and saying, I don't want anything that are poor or fair. So there's just a lot of flexibility when you're looking at this on the different areas and seeing what options you can be able to do. So there's just different things. I think it's a lot easier to be able to compare and also being able to look at how you can look at these different options. And again, you can a wide variety of different areas, 275 different plan options within FEHB, but this tool is just really well at breaking down what is good. You can also look at enrolling. You can also looking at printing. You can look at plan brochures, the comparison reports. There's just a lot of stuff here. And again, don't forget to read the advice area because there's a lot of good resources right inside this tool. So this is the Consumer Checkbook, the guide to health plans for federal employees. Please take a look at it. Again, it might have to cost you if you don't get a benefit from your agency, but I think it could be a very valuable resource and definitely a lot easier to manipulate than the OPM tool on their website. Again, both have all of the information. It's just how you want to be able to look at it and how many hours you want to spend trying to sift through all of this information. Hopefully today's video was very educational for you and you learned a lot about the different options under FEHB. If you're still watching, please hit that like button so we can make more videos just like this for you. And as always, we want to hear your comments because we want to know what you're thinking, the good and the bad. We want to make the best solutions for you and your family, so please get unbiased, conflict-free advice. Thank you for watching today, and we look forward to educating you in the next video.